for you. We're going to the best Christmas party in New York City. So that gives us several hours to hit as many traditions as possible. To the end of an era.
I think the cocaine and the mushrooms are reacting poorly.
Are you going to be cool at this party?
Cool as fuck, G.
You look insane. Only your right eye is working.
So I look weird now?
Yes, you look weird. Still weird. Weirder.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2015 Christmas comedy The Night Before, a film that is directed by Jonathan Levine and it stars Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Anthony Mackie. Now these characters, played by those three actors, are all childhood friends who for many years have made a Christmas pact. After Joseph Gordon-Levitt's parents are killed in a car accident, I believe, he's left all alone, and they decide to create a new Christmas tradition and go out every Christmas together and be like a family. The film then shoots forward several years, 10 years I think, something like that. They've been following this tradition every year, but this year it's different. It's the final year, and the reason for that is Seth Rogen is married, he's about to become a father with his wife. Anthony Mackie is a successful athlete. So basically their lives are getting to the point where they're too busy to commit to this every year now. So they agree to go their separate ways. And for many years they've been looking to get into the holy grail of Christmas parties, the Nutcracker Party I think it's called. And they finally get some tickets this year. So they end up going out on the town. Seth Rogen is given a box of drugs by his wife to help him celebrate before he has to fully commit and be a father. And they go out on the town, have lots of fun, end up going to the party, end up falling out, etc, and getting all sorts of adventures and escapades. Right, what are my thoughts on The Night Before? Well, this film has kind of become one of my Christmas traditions. It's one of my favourite Christmas films, in a sense of I generally watch this every year at Christmas now. I really enjoy this film. To some degree I like these alternative Christmas films, which you could argue this is, because it's a little bit more grown up, a bit like the Bad Santa films. I really love those films as well, the Bad Santa films. And I just think this is really funny. Now, I know Seth Rogen right now is about as popular as a fart in a spacesuit in Hollywood, especially after doing Santa Rink, certainly, which I haven't seen and I probably won't watch. But I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen. I have been for years. I like his style of humour. I like his style of comedy. And there's no getting around it. He's hilarious in this film. He's very funny in this film. And these three characters really work together. They've all got their own arcs in this film. They've all got their own dynamics. I think if it was three strong comedy actors bouncing off each other, it wouldn't have worked, this film. But what you get is you've got the central comedic comedy actor, which is Seth Rogen. And he goes into overdrive here in regards to his comedy performance as this father who is actually having an inner struggle with the fact that he's about to become a father, even though his wife thinks he's barely stable about it, and she describes him as her rock. He's actually terrified. So when he takes these drugs on this night out, it actually brings out that fear in him as well. So you're on this whole journey with him throughout this night of Seth Rogen taking a whole array of different drugs, from mushrooms to cocaine to Molly. I mean, a whole array of them. And he just downs them like sweeties. And you see him, you know, in some really funny and hilarious situations. And it really is. You know, he's having conversations with statues of Jesus, like displays of Jesus and the manger and all this kind of stuff, and he's just freaking out when he's seeing all these things, and he's very funny. And there's a great scene in a church here where he has a bit of a freak out in a church as well. I mean, he's on point. What I'm trying to say is this film, and I think Seth Rogen really nails it. But as do Anthony Mackie and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like I say, while they're not the central comedic performers here, they all work well together, and there is good chemistry here between all three of them. You believe their friendship, and while I think possibly the Anthony Mackie arc is the weakest of the three, essentially he's, like I say, a successful athlete who's 34, but he's having the best season of his life, and the reason he's having the best season of his life is because he's taking performance-enhancing drugs. That comes to light in the film, and he's got to deal with that. And he also gets his other weird arc where he's trying to get some excuse me, some weed to take to this big party for his cool friends, and it gets stolen off him by this Grinch woman that he has sex with in the bathroom. She steals his weed, and she's like this weird Grinch woman that's obsessed with Home Alone and Die Hard and things like that. And it was just a bit of an odd thing to put into the film that doesn't really work on many levels. That it's just odd. The Joseph Gordon-Levitt character is the most, even though he's in relation to his character, he's not the most grounded of the lot. He's the more relatable, I suppose, of all of them. He's this guy who can't find any direction in his life. He's split up with his girlfriend because he wouldn't commit, and he meets her on this night out again, and there's little sparks there, and you know where it's heading and with them. And essentially, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character is the main character here in this film, in a sense of his arc, and it's really his story and his love story in regards to his parents getting killed and all this kind of stuff. So the Seth Rogen character and the Anthony Mackie characters are essentially the support for him, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character. It just so happens that Seth Rogen's comedy performance elevates his above everybody else's, because he's just very, very funny in this film. So it's a really good Christmas film. You've got Michael Shannon in this film as well, who plays like Mr. Green, who's a local drug dealer. It's a really nuanced performance. It's quite fun, it's quite comedic in regards to when you see him in this film. He's really chilled. So it's just a really good Christmas film. I think it's just really underrated, this Christmas film. I don't think enough people talk about it. And if you've never seen The Night Before, it's actually, I'm sure it's on Netflix. I'm sure I've seen it on Netflix. Please check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's very, very funny, and there's actually an emotional heart to the film as well. It's got a bit of a nice message in there. But it doesn't like force it down your throat like some Christmas films that get very sickly and sticky and a bit too sugary by the end. Well, as this one does have some of that in it, it still balances it out with some nice comedy and things like that. Lots of nice comedy, actually. So check this one out, guys. It's a really good Christmas film, and I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.